Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to do the back loops only single crochet. For this project, you're going to need some yarn. I've got this number 3, number 4 weight cotton yarn today. You'll also need a crochet hook. I'm going to be using a 4.5mm hook. You'll also need some scissors, as well as a yarn needle to weave in your ends. So gather your supplies, and let's jump in. The back loops only single crochet is an awesome foundation to have in your crochet repertoire because it works as a ribbed stitch or as a stretchy stitch in projects like the edge of a cuff, or the edge of a sock, or things of that nature, the brim of a hat as well. So the first thing we're going to do is a slip knot. From here, we're going to create a foundation chain. Since this is a take on the single crochet, it really doesn't matter how many single crochet chains you start with. I'm going to start with 20. 1, 2, 3, 19, and 20. There's my initial chain. From here, we're going to start with single crochets. In the second chain from the hook, 1 and 2, I'm going to insert the hook into that chain. I've got 2 loops on the hook now. Yarn over and pull up a loop, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through those 2 loops for a single crochet. In the next chain, insert the hook, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. In the next chain, insert, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And I'm just going to single crochet across the chain for row number 1. I'll see you at the end of the row to show you what we're going to do next. By the way, for this project, you're going to need to know how to do the single crochet. If you're brand new and that was not enough information, I'll go ahead and link in the top corner right now my single crochet tutorial, so that you can learn that one before coming back here for this variation. Here I am at the last stitch of my row, the last chain. I'm gonna insert my hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops for our final single crochet of the row. Now, to end the row or to begin row number 2, I'll start with a chain 1 and turn. There is my first row of single crochets. Now is when we get into the back loop only portion of the back loop only single crochet. Now you can see when we normally do a crochet, we go through the entire top of the stitch in these big holes here. And when we put our hook in that stitch, we have 2 loops of yarn that go onto the hook. See, if I insert into the top of the stitch, do you see there's a V? There's a loop here and a loop behind it here. So those are the loops we're talking about when we go back loop only. So when I'm just inserting into the back loop, you rotate your work so that you can see the top of the work, and then you insert the hook only into that back loop, like this. So you'll have just 1 loop, as opposed to putting the whole stitch on like this. So a normal single crochet, we would insert into the whole stitch, yarn over and pull the loop through like this. That's a normal single crochet. You can see at the front, there's nothing obstructing the stitch. If I pull that out and we insert just into the back loop like this and complete a regular single crochet, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, you can see there's now a loop in front. Before that was included in the stitch and now it's been left out, just like that. So we'll put our first back loop only single crochet like that. Moving to the next stitch, into the back loop of the stitch, just like this. So normally we would put it through both like this. We're going to ignore that front loop and we're going to put the hook only through the back loop of the stitch like this and complete a single crochet. And you can see by leaving that front loop out of our stitch, we create this little rib in the front that sticks out from our stitch. So again, into the back loop, insert the hook, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops. There you go. Let me just do 3 regular single crochets the way we would normally do it, so that you can see how that looks different with them right next to each other. And then we'll go back to the back loop only. There, do you see the difference? When we do the back loop only, we get this nice straight line of loops in the front, 1, 2, and 3, versus when we do a regular single crochet, we get those holes instead, 1, 2, 3. Let me pull back my work to our back loops only. And then I'm going to insert into the back loop here, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Insert into the back loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And I'll repeat that all the way across. Just regular single crochets, except we're inserting the hook just through the back loop of the stitch, which is why it's called back loop single crochet. Single crochet stitches through the back loop of the stitch. So I'm going to repeat that all the way across for row number 2, and I'll meet you back here to show you how we finish the row and how we move into row number 3. All right, here I am at the end of row number 2. I have one more stitch in my row here. You can see there's my last stitch. You can see the V at the top. So normally we would finish a row by going through that entire stitch like this, but we're not going to do that because we're doing the back loops only. So we're just going to put it into the back loop of that V. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Then at the end of the row or the beginning of the following row, we're going to do a chain 1 and turn the work. Now, this is the back side of the fabric at this point, and you can see we don't have a rib on this side. You can see the fabric is kind of trying to fold itself because on the front side of the fabric, we've created that rib. Isn't that interesting? Now we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna start with a single crochet in that first stitch through the back loop only, just like that. And then we're gonna work across row number 3 with the exact same stitch. It's just one single crochet, but through the back loop of the stitch. See? So this is the back loop, that's the front loop. And we'll just insert into that back loop and do a single crochet. There's variations of the single crochet where you put the hook in the front loop, or through both loops, or through the back loop, and all 3 of those things give a different visual sort of impact. It allows for a little bit less stretch than some other rib stitches, but it's also a little bit less thick than some other rib stitches. So this can be really good for the brim of a hat if you're looking for like a casual beanie, something not too warm. This can be a great stitch for that. Here I am coming up to the end of row number 3. There's my second last stitch, and here I am at the last stitch of the row. You can see there's the V. I'm going to insert into the back loop of that stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, chain 1 and turn. And now you can see, since we did it the other way, we've got our one rib on one side and then the reverse on the other side. See when I flip it over? Rib on one side, reverse, so you have opposites. Now for row number 4, we're gonna do the same thing. It's a 1 row repeat for this one. We're just gonna insert the hook into the back loop of the first stitch and single crochet in that back loop. And then we're gonna single crochet in the back loop all the way across. I'm going to just rush through the end of this row so I can show you what it looks like. Here I am at the end of the row. Again, in the last stitch of the row, I'll put my single crochet into the back loop, do my single crochet, chain 1 and turn. Now you can see that rib a little bit more clearly. See how we've got those 2 rows of rib? And if you look at the actual stitch from the side, you can see a zigzag start to form. We've got 2 high points on this side and we've got 1 high point on the other side, creating a sort of a little bit more of a stretch than just a single crochet stitch and a little bit more of a texture. So I'm going to zoom through a few more rows of this so I can show you what it looks like as it builds up, and you'll see all the different ideas that'll come to your mind on how you can use this. I love this for headbands. I love this for the brim of hats, the cuffs of sleeves, the cuffs of socks, mittens, all kinds of things. You could even make a huge blanket with it. It works great for a washcloth if you do it in cotton like what I'm doing, but there's tons of different use cases for this stitch, and we'll talk a little bit more about it once I get through a few more rows. So I'm going to zoom through that and I'll see you when I get back. All right, here's what it's looking like after 18 rows. So if you remember, we started with a chain of 20, and because we started with a chain of 20, there's 19 stitches in the row. and 18 rows tall, and that's about how much it takes for me to get a square. So I'm going to cut my yarn here, weave in my end, and then we will talk about this stitch. Ta-da! Here it is, the back loops only single crochet. Do you see that awesome texture? It's perfect, like I said, for a ribbed stitch. Look at that, for the cuff of a sweater. It's got that sweet little rib detail. By putting our stitch in the back loop only, we create these nice ridges on each line. Every other row gets a ridge. It also makes this so easy to count your rows. If you look, every bump is 2 rows. So there's 1 and 2, 3 and 4. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17. Did I only do 17 rows? I thought I did 18. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Ha! I did 17 rows, not 18. Oops. Anywho, what do you think? Have you done this one before? I love this as an alternative option for the rib stitch for the brims of hats, the cuffs of sweaters, and all other kinds of stuff. This also is a great scrubby texture. It's not too aggressive, so if you wanted like a washcloth for in the shower, this would make a great texture for that, not too harsh. I love it. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below what you think of this one, and if you've done it before, what do you use this one for? What other rib stitches do you want to see in the future? Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you to everyone who's supporting the channel this month. Here's the list of channel supporters. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. If you would like to support the channel, check the links in the description box down below. Along with all the ways to support the channel, I will link any related tutorials that might help you out with this stitch and others like it. Don't forget to click the thumbs up button on the video before you head out, and I'll see you next week for another stitch tutorial. Bye!